The reason that I have this episode is because last year I posted a video how much you need to make in San Francisco Bay Area. In that video, I got a lot of comments. One specific comment from Michael. Again, shout out to all those subscribers and the people who commented my video. Those comments, especially those positive comments, are the reason that's why I keep putting efforts on my YouTube channel. So in that video, Michael mentioned it would be great if I can do a detailed breakdown on housing cost, state tax, and gases. So first of all, I want to point out that the data that I provided in that video is based on the time that I moved from Portland, Oregon to California Bay Area at 2019. So at that time, the housing markets, everything is quite different if you are looking at today, including the interest rate. So it's really hard to compare if you own a house already because you lock into that interest rate, you lock into that initial purchase price. With that being said, I still want to give some of the breakdown details on the cost difference between Portland, Oregon and the San Francisco Bay Area here, especially just looking at today's market. So I still use my own example because I sold my house in Portland, Oregon around 2019. So the house I sold at that time was around $500K. Today, if I want to buy that house, the listed price in Zillow is around $750K. If I was just using a flat interest 3%, I know the interest rate is much higher today because the interest rate is fluctuation and we don't know in the future how much it would be. So I just use this flat 3%. With this 3% interest rate, roughly I need to pay about $3,300 per month if I'm going to purchase the house that I sold in Portland, Oregon a few years ago. For a similar house, if I want to get in San Francisco Bay Area, first of all, you're not going to get the same exact house, 4-bedroom, 2,500 square feet with 7,000 square feet of a yard. So I just want to do a reasonable comparison, which means if I want to get a decent house in San Francisco Bay Area, I'm just looking around where I'm living here in Fremont. Roughly, I need to pay $1.5 million for a decent house. Again, school district, everything varies. It's really hard to compare, right? 7 out of 10 score in Portland, Oregon might not mean the same thing if it's 7 out of 10 in Fremont or in some other places in San Francisco Bay Area. So here it's very generic. I would just say, okay, $1.5 million would be the house that I would like to get here. So with the same 3% of interest rate, if you want to get a $1.5 million house, that's roughly about $6,300 per month mortgage. So that's about $3K more per month. So for a year, that would be $36K per year, which is already more than the cost estimation I give you guys for $30K if you want to move from Portland, Oregon to San Francisco Bay Area. The reason, again, like I said, is if you are going to buy a house today, and that's the cost difference. The second cost difference that I didn't account in my last video was the state tax. So if you want to do a comparison, it's about 9.9% of Oregon state tax compared with 13.3% in California state income tax. So roughly, let's say it's about 3.4% difference. Say if you're looking for a job salary around $120K per year, with that 3.4% of state tax difference, that will give you about $4K difference per year. Third is the gas. Okay, so I never thought about the gas will come to such a high price today. It costs more than $6 and some of the area costs even more than $7 per gallon. So a quick comparison I would do for Oregon, because suburban is much smaller, I would estimate you need to drive 10 miles per day, just estimation. Here, because the Bay Area is much larger, so today for me, if I drive from Fremont to South Bay, I need about 30 miles per day. So let's say roughly 20 miles per day differences. 20 miles depends on what type of car you get. Maybe let's say you need 1 more gallon per day in San Francisco Bay Area. With the average cost, let's say $6 per gallon, 1 gallon per day, that's $6 per day, 5 days a week, and 50 weeks per year, then roughly you need to pay 1.5K per year of the additional gas cost as for today's price. Last, also there's something that I didn't quantify in my last video is the purchase tax. Here in California, we have around 7% of purchase tax, but in Portland, Oregon, we don't have any purchase tax. So looking at our purchase spend for each month, I would say roughly $2,000. There's a lot of fluctuations, depends on if I go out eating more or if I took vacations. But generally speaking, let's use $2,000 per month. Then that's $24,000 per year with 7% of difference in purchase tax. That will give you roughly about 2K differences just because of the purchase tax difference. So you add this all together is about $43.5 thousand difference. So that's a lot, definitely more than what I've been estimated in my last video. All this cost is out of your pockets, it's after tax. So let's just assume 70% of the tax. So before tax, you pretty much need to make more than 60K per year. So for your own city, I mean, if you are living in the East or Middle West, the cost might be different, but you can use the same formula that I used in this video. Last, I still want to give you my honest suggestion about moving to high cost area like San Francisco Bay Area. Financially, I think I underestimate how much I need to make here in San Francisco Bay Area, but I still do not regret for the decision I made to come here for the few reasons. First is the opportunities. I would say the competition here is much more stronger than some of the other places I've been stayed. I have to push myself to move forward. So that's why I did a lot of self-reflections. I start to really look at how I want to make a difference. Some of the changes including I changed my job function from a mechanical engineer to product marketing manager. The second thing is that my wife is able to find a job much easier here in San Francisco Bay Area compared with in Portland, Oregon, with the additional income from my wife. So financially, I think we can still break even. Okay, this is conclude what I want to share with you. If you like this kind of content, please don't hesitate to subscribe and smash the like button. Thanks for watching. See you next time.